Welcome to this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. On today's program, we're going to bring you out to the Great Dismal Swamp National Wildlife Refuge, and it's a great time to be out here. Why? It's the 40th anniversary of the refuge. So in today's program, we're going to highlight not only the refuge itself, but also some of the events that are coming up that you can take part in. Stay tuned. Welcome back to On the Scene. We're joined now by Dolores Freeman, a visitor services specialist here with the Great Dismal Swamp National Wildlife Refuge. And Dolores, thanks for being with us again today.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Very special year here, the 40th anniversary of the refuge being a refuge, correct?
Correct. From our establishment was in 1974. A lot of the local folks know that the big land donation at that time was from Union Camp Corporation, and they donated almost 50,000 acres to the Nature Conservancy, which was then conveyed to Department of Interior that established the refuge.
Very nice. And now what's the total acreage or the size of the whole refuge as a whole?
Now
Yes,
it's 113,000 acres.
Okay, so we're talking a lot of territory here.
A lot of territory. It's approximately 20 miles, and it makes almost a rectangle, and it's about 20 miles north to south and about 8 miles east to west. So a big chunk of land.
And of course, we're lucky enough to have the refuge headquarters here in the city of Suffolk.
Yes.
But again, the refuge also extends out to Chesapeake, and is there...
There's about a third in Suffolk,
Right.
about a third in Chesapeake, and about a third of it actually crosses the state line into
Correct.
North Carolina.
Got it. Now, this time of year, of course, we've had you on the program a couple of different times, and every time there's something new to talk about. But if someone were to visit now, what type of wildlife and what are some things they could look for that this time of year brings out, so to speak?
This time of the year, you see a lot of activity for some of the larger mammals as they're getting ready for the winter. In the forest right now, there's a lot of wild grapes that are ripe. It's the end of the berry season, the acorns and all the nuts are getting ripe.
Right.
So a lot of animals are finishing up that last big abundance,
Right,
you know,
right.
like we have our Thanksgiving in the fall to celebrate
They're
the
a little early,
abundance
right?
of the
Yeah.
nature. The wildlife does the same thing.
Sure.
So they are right now doing that. So it's not uncommon to see the bears out on the trails. As the leaves fall off the trees, the forest sort of opens up a little bit. So a lot of times you can get a better view. The river otters, you see them being active up and down off the fields, the fox. Actually, if you come and take the auto tour and you ride to the lake, there is just absolutely no telling
Right.
what you're going to see at this time of the year. The turtles are still very active. It hadn't got so cold that that's a problem
Sure,
yet.
sure.
There's a lot of migrating ducks and geese that are starting to move through.
Right.
Some of the migrating songbirds are starting to gather into large flocks, and usually most of them will be moving down to the Caribbean and South America for the winter. But they start gathering in places like this because they're going to take opportunities to eat those berries and eat those nuts and seeds and finish up on the last good meals of insects while they're still abundant.
Sure.
And so it's a good time to see that here. I mean, it's really a very busy time for the wildlife.
Now, if someone were to come and visit the headquarters here, and again, we're located on 3100 Des Arts Road?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a good kind of a place to come in, get some good information,
Yep.
find out again about all the trails and things here. But what areas are open to the public at this time of year, and are there any restrictions with regard to dates or times or anything like that?
Well, almost every day, and I'll give the exceptions in a minute,
Sure.
the trails are open sunrise to sunset.
Okay.
And we have three main entrances in Suffolk. We have the Jericho Lane entrance, which is like at the northwest corner of the refuge. We have the ever so popular Washington Ditch, which is sort of in the central, that's on White Marsh Road
Right.
in Suffolk. And then we have the Railroad Ditch entrance that's just adjacent to the headquarters here, and that's our designated auto tour,
Okay.
where you can get a self-serve permit at the gate and drive into the lake. We have added, since last time that I've been with you,
Okay.
that auto tour is now available Mondays through Saturdays.
Okay.
So we had a lot of requests for people that weren't able to come down during the weekdays, and now they can do it on Saturday.
Okay.
And the auto tour, the gate is up from 7:30 until 3 o'clock
Okay.
each day. So those are the three things that people like to do, and we've had a lot of people taking advantage of those this summer and fall. The only things you have to look out for is we are having our deer hunt season now.
Okay.
So the first 3 Fridays and Saturdays in October, And the first 3 Fridays and Saturdays in November, everything is closed except for the hunters, except Washington Ditch.
Okay.
And we keep Washington Ditch open for those folks that want to come out for a walk, do the boardwalk, ride their bike all the way to the lake, so that they still have an opportunity to do something here.
Of course.
But everything else is closed except for the hunters on those days.
Okay.
And all of that information is on our website.
Correct.
The exact date. So if I sort of spoke real quick
Sure.
and you can't get it, people can, check the website and pull off those dates.
And we'll make sure we put that address up on the screen, so again, people that need to pull that down can take a look at that, so we'll make sure we put that up there. But as far as what would you tell someone if they come out to visit, and of course, I guess we'll say fortunately experience wildlife, but some tips as far as to think about really proximity and things. And I know we've talked about this before, especially with the bears. And I know, certainly bears have been a topic in and around earlier this year, certainly in the city of Suffolk, again, with some of the interactions people had. But right now, as far as if someone were to be here, they experience a bear, a fox, or some other type of wildlife, some advice that you might give to them, what to do, what not to do.
Okay. If you do see one of those larger mammals or even any of the small creatures, you want to give them their personal space. You don't ever want them to feel like you are going to corner them or try to pick them up or try to feed them. You want to give them that space.
Right.
Now, most of the time saying that, if you just stand still and sort of make a little bit of noise so that they're aware you're there, they are going to disappear.
Correct.
And that's the best advice I can give you, is you just to stay still. We have never had any incidents where people have been attacked by bears or confronted in any hostile way. Most people consider themselves highly fortunate if they get here and they see a bear. Last weekend I had a group of youth that we have a class on Saturdays, every other Saturday now. And we were riding the bus out to the lake, and there was a baby bear up in the tree.
Oh, really?
And so I stopped the bus, and I'm talking 7 and 8 year olds, and we watched the baby bear climb down, and it was just awesome.
But again, those are fortunate opportunities, be it a bear or any kind of really wildlife here. Because again, you're in their habitat, and certainly if you're in a vehicle or something, they're going to hear you coming. So you talked about the movement and things. But let's focus a little bit before we take a break in just a bit about the anniversary. And again, I know one of the things that right now you have on display is some artwork.
Yes, I do.
And if you could talk a little bit about what's on display, and again, access for the public to come view that.
In our headquarters right now, we have an exhibit. It's a partial exhibit from an art show by a local environmental artist, Pam Ponce. She did an extensive exhibit that was well received last summer at Tidewater Community College in Portsmouth, the art campus. And she has been so gracious to bring us a big portion of her exhibit and put it in here as part of our 40th anniversary celebration. So it will be on display here for the next 2 weeks. And people can come by during the times when the headquarters is open, which is Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock till 4.
Okay. Now, as far as what is the theme of the exhibit? What is it kind of focused on?
Or the title of the exhibit is actually Great Dismal Swamp, Fire and Water. And her work was photographically documenting the recovery of the refuge since the large fire that we had in 2008 and 2011.
Right. And again, talk about as far as how everything has kind of come back and the things, and certainly the pictures, and we'll show some of those pictures throughout here as well, some things you can see on the exhibit. But just talk about the recovery efforts and the things, because obviously there's a lot of work on a lot of people's part, as well as nature just kind of doing its thing, right?
Yes, it is. There are some areas of the refuge where we're doing quite a bit of hydrological research and manipulation. We were fortunate enough to get some large grants that are going to enable us to put in more water control structures. The benefit of that is when we have an extended drought like we had pre-2011, we can keep those peat soils wetter, more wet, saturated, and so they don't have the tendency to burn at least as long as they burned before.
Correct.
Other areas we are reestablishing forests, and but in much of the 6,000 acres, it's nature taking care of itself. And if people come and take the auto tour, they're going to go through a perfect example of that, and they'll be able to see the cattails coming up and all of the wool grass and all of the different vegetation that's starting to come back in. doesn't look nowhere near as bad as it did for a couple of years.
It's amazing as far as the recovery efforts of nature, as far as, and obviously nature's been doing this for as long as the world's been around, and whether with our help or without our help. But
and
certainly
in the Dismal Swamp, that's always been the case.
True.
Fire has always been a component.
Yes, yes. And we're going to be highlighting, after we take this short break, some of the events that you can take part in here at the Great Dismal Swamp National Wildlife Refuge. Stay tuned. Welcome back to On the Scene, joined again by Dolores Freeman out here at the Great Dismal Swamp National Wildlife Refuge. And Dolores, one of the things let's talk about, again, with the 40th anniversary of the refuge, there's a lot of events going on. Now, one thing that's actually already ongoing, and it's a great way, I guess, to teach nature appreciation, and also some great activities to some of our youngsters, ages 7 to 11, the Taking Aim. Talk to us about what the event is and all the different things that youngsters can take part in.
Taking Aim is a new workshop class that we have for youth age 7 to 11, both boys and girls, and we call it Taking Aim, and there's 3 components. Each segment will have 3 different classes every other Saturday on Saturday afternoons from 1:30 to 3 o'clock every other, but just twice a month.
Sure.
And Taking Aim because we're going to be doing archery. They'll be learning to do point and shoot archery. We're going to do binoculars and using binoculars for observing wildlife, and then they're going to do photography. So C is cameras, and we're going to learn to use little digital cameras to take nature photography pictures.
Right.
And so each group of classes will have one class that focuses on each of those. Right now we just finished, week before last, we finished our first class of Taking Aim, and we had a really good day going out with our binoculars, and I'm fortunate enough to have a nice new set, so every kid had, like, we called them really adult binoculars. And we went down to the lake, and that's when we were down there and we saw the baby bear up in the tree. Next week we're going to be doing archery, and I have all the equipment for that, and then the following Saturday that we meet we'll have photography, and we're going to be coming outside in nature and taking pictures, and then we're going to take them back in and print them, and they'll make their own little photo album with that. So the next group of classes, the next segment of 3 classes will begin on November 8th. No fees for it. You just need to call the refuge and sign your kids up and their friends up. We ask that an adult stay present with the child, because we like to get the adults to participate too. And it's just a great way to be outside with your child and learning how to appreciate nature a little more.
Indeed. And of course, I think one of the key things you said there, it is free.
It's free.
But again, you just need to pre-register, correct?
That's it.
That's right.
We have all the equipment. There's no cost to you whatsoever. Just get yourself here.
Can't beat that. Well, now, speaking of other events that you want to get yourself here for, there's a bus tour coming up. As far as that'll be on, I think, October the 16th. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay. As part of we're having really a whole week of celebrations for our 40th anniversary. And it happens to be also National Wildlife Refuge Week. So nationally, all the National Wildlife Refuges are celebrating in some way. But it's our birthday too, so we're going to roll that in. And on the 16th, we have a bus tour that we will be going to the lake. It'll be a staff guided, and you'll learn about the refuge, and you'll learn about the different management activities that we do here. That's on Thursday. On Friday night, we're having one of our owl prowls that's ever so popular.
Indeed.
And that one will be at Washington Ditch. So that one is great for all ages. Again, both of these events are free, and you just need to call and make a reservation and come protect yourself from the bugs in the evening, but it's usually not too bad. We have some equipment that makes it bearable for us. And then later in the fall, we have another owl prowl schedule. We always have one the week between Christmas and New Year's. And that is just like a big New Year's party that we always have that one. So that one's a lot of fun. And then shortly after New Year's, we'll be having our Christmas bird count, which is a citizen science event. We use the birds, we divide up into teams, and you go out. We take all experience levels. We put the real experienced birders with the ones who may be brand new at it and are interested in it, and you get sent out to a region of the refuge and you count every little bird you see for the whole day. we come back and tally it all
Right.
up, and it goes into a national survey.
Very
So it
nice.
has real scientific value. I believe the one here has been taking place for over 20-some years.
Wow.
Every year it's during the Christmas holiday. So those are great events and allow people to, one special thing nice about the Christmas bird count, it gets you to parts of the refuge that the public's not usually
Right.
allowed to go to.
So a little bonus there,
yeah,
right?
You get a little bonus
Yeah.
there. You get to go out and about.
Now with the owl prowl, let's go back to that for a second. You talk about how popular they are. What is an owl prowl? What goes on? Because I believe it's a really, I use the word interactive for the sense of what you're going to experience right in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We will meet at the Washington Ditch, and the biologist, the refuge biologist, will be there. And he does a little bit of an orientation and tells the folks about the type of owls we're going to see and some of their behaviors and how they, what they like to eat and how their activity takes place during the day. And then we have some recordings, and he will actually start playing them. And usually we can get owls to come in either, if they come in close enough, we can hear them, we see them. We usually end up seeing something during the evening. We have 3 species that are very common here. We have screech owls, and we have barred owls, and we have great horned owls.
Right.
And so sometime during the evening, we almost always get some view of all of them. We always hear them.
Right.
But, you know, if they're feeling like it, they'll come close enough for them to see them. But it's always a good time. And there's always other things that happen.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
like we've had bears walk across the trail right in front of us. You know, sometimes there's bats around. One time we had the space shuttle fly right over us, and we could see right into the cabin of it. It was so close in the way what the sunset was hitting it.
Yes.
So being in the woods at night is a special treatment. Normally our trails close at sunset, so people aren't really allowed.
Correct.
So it gives you an opportunity to be out here at night, and I think that's one of the attractions. People like, ooh, that sounds fun.
Now with the owl prowl, any cost for that?
No,
Again,
no
just
cost.
pre-registration, right?
Pre-registration, that's it.
Good deal. Now again, I know we've talked about pre-registration for a couple of events. Is there a good central phone number for them to call if they'd like to do so?
Yes, that's
Okay.
at the headquarters here, and it's 757-986-3705, and we are here Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay, perfect, good deal. So again, a great opportunity, a great resource right in your own backyard, so to speak, as far as to come out here and take part in one of these number of events going on. Now, as far as with the anniversary, the 40th anniversary of the Refuge being in existence as well, any other highlights to bring out with that, and maybe some things that maybe, if you will, y'all want to get a little extra publicity for, being the fact that, other than just the fact that we have this great resource, as I said, right here.
We would like to engage the community more. One of our goals for this year is to engage the people around here. A lot of times we have so many visitors here from all over the world.
Right.
Like if you go in and you look at our guest register book, there's people from literally all over the world that come here because they've heard of the Great Dismal Swamp and they got to know what it's about. But we don't have that much activity from the local people.
Right.
So we are trying to add these things to our regular calendar so people will know they are always free, and we will post them on our Facebook page and on our website. So if you're looking for something that's educational, good for you, get outside, includes activities for the whole family, check our website and our activity calendar, and come on out and visit us.
Indeed. Again, it's just a great opportunity to get out here with nature, and as you talked about the fact that the evening activities as far as things going on out here, which again you have those opportunities to be out here beyond when it's normally open, but the fact that you don't have a lot of city light. I mean, as far as what you're going to see, as far as it's dark is dark, right?
It's dark. If you have a full moon, it's one thing, but when it's dark, it's dark.
Right. And again, this is the place to come experience that. Well, Dolores, thanks for being with us again today. We always appreciate your great visit with us and being so welcoming to show us around and talk a little bit about what's going on here. And again, we'll have the website address on the screen, so be sure to utilize that. We'll have the phone number there, again, if you need to make a reservation or if you just had questions as well, correct?
Yep, sure.
Good deal. Well, that will do it for this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. We'll see you again next time.